What if I told you that over 1,000 years ago, in the royal courts and healing halls of ancient Persia, physicians had already cracked the code on aging, not slowing it, not managing it, reversing it? Most people don't know this, but while we're all spending hundreds of dollars on serums, supplements, and anti-aging treatments developed in the last 20 years, there are plants that Persian physicians documented in meticulous detail a millennium ago. Plants with actual clinical evidence now backing them up. Plants that modern science is finally proving work exactly as Avicenna and the great Persian healers always said they would. The Persian Empire was the most medically advanced civilization of its time. Avicenna, known in Persia as Ibn Sina, wrote the Canon of Medicine, a medical encyclopedia so comprehensive that it was used as the primary medical textbook in European universities for over 600 years. 600 years. And at the heart of that knowledge was a deep, precise understanding of plants that slow the aging process, restore vitality, and protect the body from the inside out. And today, I'm going to show you 20 of them that will change the way you think about aging forever. Stick around, because number 14 on this list was so prized in ancient Persia that it was worth more than gold by weight, and modern dermatology just confirmed it rebuilds collagen at the cellular level. And number 20 isn't just an anti-aging plant, it's the plant that Avicenna himself called the master medicine, the one he prescribed for nearly every degenerative condition he ever treated. And researchers are finally explaining why. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because we post new videos every week connecting ancient plant wisdom with modern science, giving you the knowledge to take charge of your own health and vitality. So let's get into it. Here are 20 ancient Persian plants that will reverse aging instantly, ranked from remarkable to absolutely extraordinary. Number 1. Saffron, the golden thread of immortality. Let's start with the most iconic plant in Persian history, a plant so deeply woven into Persian culture, cuisine, and medicine that it became the very symbol of the civilization itself. Saffron. Crocus sativus. In ancient Persia, saffron wasn't seasoning, it was sacred medicine. Persian physicians prescribed it for mood, for memory, for eye health, and for what they called the preservation of youth. Avicenna dedicated extensive passages in the Canon of Medicine to saffron, noting its ability to strengthen the heart, clear the mind, and restore vitality to aging bodies. And here is what modern science has done with that knowledge. Clinical trials show that saffron's active compounds, crocin and saffronol, have remarkable neuroprotective effects. Published studies demonstrate that saffron supplementation significantly reduces symptoms of mild to moderate depression, comparable to pharmaceutical antidepressants in some trials. But the anti-aging science goes even deeper. Crocin has been shown to inhibit oxidative stress at the cellular level, one of the primary drivers of biological aging. Research on saffron and eye health shows it can protect retinal cells from age-related degeneration. This isn't speculation. These are peer-reviewed, published human clinical trials. Traditional Persian use was elegant and simple. A small pinch of saffron threads steeped in warm water or warm milk consumed in the evening. The golden liquid was called the drink of kings for good reason. It calmed the mind, supported restful sleep, and over time, physicians observed that those who took saffron regularly seemed to age more slowly, keeping sharper minds and clearer eyes well into old age. Saffron got pushed aside in Western medicine simply because it couldn't be isolated, patented, and sold as a pill at pharmaceutical margins. But for anyone dealing with brain fog, low mood, poor sleep, or declining vision, the golden threads that built an empire are still available, still extraordinary, and still working exactly as the Persian physicians documented. Think of it as the most expensive spice in the world that's also one of the most powerful anti-aging medicines ever discovered. Number 2. Persian rose, the queen of skin medicine. The Persian rose, Rosa damascena, isn't just a flower. It was the foundation of an entire medical tradition around skin preservation and rejuvenation. Persia gave the world rose water, rose oil, and the systematic study of rose's therapeutic effects on human skin. Rose cultivation in Persia dates back over 2,000 years, and Persian physicians were the first to document its medicinal use with scientific precision. Here is what Avicenna understood that we are only now confirming with laboratory tools. Rose petals contain a complex mixture of antioxidants, polyphenols, and bioactive compounds that directly combat the oxidative processes that age skin. Modern research confirms that Rosa damascena extract reduces inflammation in skin cells, inhibits enzymes that break down collagen and elastin, and provides measurable UV protection. A published clinical trial showed that topical application of rosehip oil, rich in the same compounds found in Persian rose preparations, significantly reduced the depth of wrinkles, improved skin elasticity, and increased moisture retention over a 12-week period. Traditional Persian use was comprehensive. Rose water was applied topically as a toner and preservative. Rose petal infusions were consumed as internal medicine for digestive inflammation, which Persian physicians correctly understood was connected to skin aging. Rose oil was incorporated into facial preparations for queens and nobility. This wasn't vanity, it was medicine. Persian rose got forgotten in Western skincare as the synthetic fragrance and cosmetics industries replaced plant medicine with chemicals. But the clean beauty revolution is bringing it back, and the science backs every bit of the ancient Persian tradition. For anyone watching those collagen and elastin levels decline with age, the rose that built Persian civilization is one of the most elegant and effective anti-aging tools in existence. It's the queen of skin medicine that never actually lost her throne. Number 3. Nigella sativa, the seed of blessing. Nigella sativa, black seed, was called habatus sauda in Arabic and its equivalent in Persian medical texts, where it was described as the remedy for everything except death. Persian physicians used it for immune function, respiratory health, metabolic support, and critically for aging, the preservation of cellular health against disease and degeneration. Modern science has produced a remarkable body of research on Nigella sativa. Thymoquinone, its primary active compound, has been studied for anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antimicrobial, and even anti-cancer properties. Published research demonstrates that black seed oil reduces oxidative stress markers in human subjects. Clinical trials show improvements in blood pressure, blood sugar regulation, and cholesterol levels. One particularly striking study showed that Nigella sativa supplementation reduced inflammatory markers associated with accelerated aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation, what researchers now call inflammaging, is one of the primary mechanisms of biological aging, and thymoquinone attacks it directly. Traditional Persian use included pressing the seeds into oil and taking it daily as a preventive tonic, grinding seeds and incorporating them into foods, and using the oil topically for skin and joint health. Persian physicians were specific about dosing, noting that consistent small daily amounts were more effective than large occasional doses. This precision is something modern pharmacology would recognize immediately. Black seed got dismissed in Western medicine as folk remedy from the Middle East, seen as cultural rather than clinical. But the clinical evidence that has accumulated over the past 2 decades is impossible to dismiss. For anyone interested in fighting inflammation at its source, protecting cellular health, and addressing the metabolic changes that accelerate aging, Nigella sativa is the seed that Persian physicians were right about all along. Think of it as the remedy for everything except death, now with the research to explain why. Number 4. Pomegranate, the fruit of eternal life. Pomegranate, Punica granatum, was the symbol of Persian royalty, fertility, and eternal life. It appears in Persian art, architecture, and mythology spanning 3,000 years. But its prominence in Persian culture wasn't accidental or merely symbolic. It was medical. Persian physicians understood that this fruit did something extraordinary to the aging body. The science on pomegranate is among the most impressive in all of botanical medicine. The fruit contains punicalagins and tunisic acid, antioxidants that are 2 to 3 times more potent than those found in red wine or green tea. Clinical trials demonstrate that pomegranate juice consumption improves blood flow, reduces arterial plaque, lowers blood pressure, and decreases oxidative stress throughout the cardiovascular system. But the most fascinating anti-aging research on pomegranate involves urolithin A, a compound produced when gut bacteria metabolize pomegranate compounds. Urolithin A activates mitophagy, the cellular process of clearing out damaged mitochondria and replacing them with healthy ones. Mitochondrial decline is one of the defining features of biological aging, and pomegranate essentially triggers the cellular cleanup process that keeps you young. Traditional Persian use was both dietary and medicinal. The fruit was eaten regularly as food medicine. The rind, even more potent than the juice, was prepared as a decoction for digestive infections and inflammation. The flowers were used topically for skin healing. Persian physicians observed that populations consuming pomegranate regularly seemed to maintain vigor and sharpness longer than those who did not. Pomegranate was never entirely forgotten, but we did forget it was medicine. We relegated it to the category of antioxidant superfood without understanding that it activates cellular regeneration processes that pharmaceutical companies are currently spending billions trying to replicate synthetically. The fruit of eternal life, as the Persians called it, is at every grocery store. The only question is whether you're taking it seriously enough. Number 5. Licorice root, the harmony restorer. Licorice root, Glycyrrhiza glabra, was one of the most important medicines in the entire Persian pharmacopoeia. Avicenna wrote about it for respiratory conditions, digestive inflammation, liver protection, and the softening of aged, damaged tissue throughout the body. The name Glycyrrhiza means sweet root, and Persian physicians used it across virtually every system of the body with remarkable sophistication. Modern pharmacology has identified glycyrrhizin and glabridin as licorice root's primary bioactive compounds, and the anti-aging research on both is striking. Glabridin in particular has been shown to inhibit tyrosinase, the enzyme responsible for age spots and uneven skin pigmentation, making it one of the most effective natural skin brightening compounds known. Clinical research shows licorice root extract rivals some pharmaceutical skin lightening agents without the toxicity. Internally, glycyrrhizin has demonstrated anti-inflammatory effects comparable to cortisone in some studies, but without the side effects of steroid therapy. For adrenal support, stress response regulation, and cortisol balance, all of which profoundly affect aging rate, licorice root acts as an adaptogen that helps the body maintain equilibrium under stress. Traditional Persian physicians used licorice root as a tea for respiratory congestion, as a topical preparation for skin inflammation and discoloration, and as an internal tonic for what they described as dryness of the body, a condition we would now recognize as chronic low-grade inflammation and cellular dehydration. An important note here: licorice root should be used in moderate amounts and not daily for extended periods without breaks, as high doses can affect blood pressure. Deglycyrrhizinated licorice, known as DGL, removes this concern for those using it for digestive health. Persian physicians were precise about this too, recommending cycles of use rather than continuous consumption. Licorice root got forgotten in Western medicine because it was associated with candy rather than medicine. But the pharmaceutical industry has actually studied its compounds extensively. For skin brightness, inflammation control, and adrenal support, the harmony restorer of the Persian pharmacopoeia is still one of the most sophisticated anti-aging plants available. Number 6. Barberry, the golden bark. Barberry, Berberis vulgaris, was one of the most studied plants in Persian medicine. The bright yellow inner bark was used for liver disease, digestive infections, skin conditions, and metabolic disorders. Persian physicians understood it as a purifying plant, something that cleared the blood, supported the liver, and brought the metabolism back into balance. What they were responding to was berberine, one of the most researched plant alkaloids in modern medicine. The published science on berberine reads like a pharmaceutical wish list. Clinical trials show berberine improves insulin sensitivity and blood sugar regulation as effectively as metformin in some studies. It lowers LDL cholesterol. It reduces inflammatory markers. It activates AMPK, an enzyme often called the master metabolic switch, the same pathway activated by exercise and caloric restriction, two of the most proven anti-aging interventions known to science. Here's why this matters for aging specifically. Metabolic dysfunction, elevated blood sugar, insulin resistance, and mitochondrial inefficiency are not just health problems. They are primary drivers of accelerated biological aging. The telomeres shorten faster. The inflammatory burden increases. The cellular repair systems slow down. Berberine intervenes in all of these processes simultaneously, which is why modern longevity researchers are increasingly excited about it. Traditional Persian use included the yellow bark steeped as a bitter tea for digestive infections, liver support, and metabolic conditions. The berries were used as food. Topically, the bark extract was applied for skin infections and inflammatory conditions. Barberry got overlooked in Western medicine because it's a thorny, aggressive shrub, and because synthetic pharmaceuticals seemed more controllable. But with metabolic disease now recognized as one of the primary accelerators of biological aging, the golden bark that Persian physicians trusted for 1,000 years is having a serious scientific moment. Think of it as the master metabolic switch that nature built before we knew what a metabolic switch was. Number 7. Borage, the courage flower. If you're finding this valuable and starting to see the pattern of how Persian medicine was systematically correct about plants that are now being validated by modern science, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button. It helps this video reach more people who are searching for this kind of knowledge. And if you haven't subscribed to Ancient Flora yet, click that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're building a community that takes ancient plant wisdom and modern science seriously together, and I'd love to have you as part of it. Now, borage. Borago officinalis was called the courage flower in Persian tradition because physicians observed that it lifted the spirits, restored vitality in the elderly, and gave people the energy and mental clarity that aging had taken from them. Persian physicians prescribed it for adrenal support, for inflammation, and for the gradual restoration of what they called vital force in aging bodies. Modern science identifies borage's key contribution as gamma-linolenic acid, GLA, an omega-6 fatty acid that the aging body increasingly struggles to produce from dietary sources. GLA is a precursor to anti-inflammatory prostaglandins and is essential for healthy skin barrier function, hormone balance, and nerve health. Clinical trials show that borage oil supplementation significantly improves symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, reducing joint inflammation and pain. Studies on GLA in skin show improvement in dryness, barrier function, and the inflammatory skin conditions like eczema that become increasingly common with age. Borage seed oil contains the highest concentration of GLA in any plant source, substantially more than evening primrose oil, which is the better-known GLA supplement. Traditional Persian use included the flowers and leaves as a tea for mood and adrenal support, and the oil as an internal supplement and topical preparation for skin and joint health. Borage got forgotten in Western medicine simply because GLA isn't as marketable as omega-3s, and the plant isn't as photogenic as some others. But for anyone dealing with inflammatory joint conditions, dry skin that worsens with age, or the kind of deep fatigue that comes from adrenal strain, borage is the courage flower that actually delivers what its name promised. Think of it as the plant that gives back what aging takes. Number 8. Sumac, the antioxidant powerhouse. Sumac, Rus coriaria, was used throughout Persian cuisine and medicine simultaneously, one of the most elegant examples of food as medicine in any tradition. The deep red berries, ground into a tangy powder, were incorporated into meals not just for flavor, but because Persian physicians understood sumac preserved health and slowed degeneration. Avicenna recommended it for digestive health, liver function, urinary issues, and the management of what he called excessive heat in the body, a condition we would now recognize as chronic systemic inflammation. Modern analysis reveals why sumac deserved this attention. The berries contain extraordinarily high levels of gallic acid, anthocyanins, and other polyphenols. Research shows sumac has among the highest antioxidant activity measured in any food plant, outranking blueberries, green tea, and most commercially promoted superfoods. Published studies demonstrate anti-diabetic effects, with sumac extract improving blood sugar regulation and insulin sensitivity in clinical trials. Anti-inflammatory research confirms inhibition of the same inflammatory pathways targeted by pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the gastrointestinal damage those drugs cause. The anti-aging implications are direct. Oxidative stress and inflammation are the two primary drivers of cellular aging. Sumac addresses both simultaneously and measurably. Traditional Persian use was brilliant in its simplicity. Sumac was sprinkled on food daily, integrated into the diet as a flavoring that was simultaneously medicine. This is preventive medicine as culture, something Persian civilization understood intuitively. Sumac got completely overlooked in Western nutrition science because it was categorized as a Middle Eastern spice rather than a functional food. The antioxidant powerhouse of the Persian kitchen is still available in Middle Eastern grocery stores, still delicious, and still doing exactly what Avicenna said it would. It's the medicine hiding in plain sight on every Persian dinner table. Number 9. Fenugreek, the youth restorer. Fenugreek, Trigonella funum graecum, was called the youth restorer in ancient Persian medical texts. Physicians used it for metabolic support, for maintaining muscle mass in aging patients, for blood sugar regulation, and for what they described as the restoration of moisture and vitality to aging tissue. It appeared in Persian medicine for both men's and women's health, used to restore hormonal balance, maintain physical strength, and support the digestive processes that decline with age. Modern research has validated multiple mechanisms behind these traditional uses. Fenugreek contains compounds that mimic the effects of certain steroid hormones, helping to maintain testosterone levels in aging men and supporting hormonal balance in women. Clinical trials show significant improvements in testosterone, libido, and muscle strength in men over 40 with fenugreek supplementation. Blood sugar research shows fenugreek's galactomannan fiber and steroidal saponins improve insulin sensitivity and slow glucose absorption. Studies on aging skin show fenugreek seed extract stimulates collagen production in dermal fibroblasts, the cells responsible for skin firmness and elasticity. Traditional Persian use included fenugreek seeds, ground and consumed with food or steeped as a tea. The seeds were also made into paste and applied topically for skin conditions and joint inflammation. Physicians were careful about dosing, noting that moderate consistent use was the key to its restorative effects. Fenugreek got forgotten in Western anti-aging medicine because hormonal therapies became the dominant approach to age-related hormonal decline, and plant medicines were pushed aside. But for anyone who wants to address hormonal decline, muscle loss, blood sugar regulation, and skin collagen production simultaneously with a single plant, the youth restorer of the Persian pharmacopoeia is still available, still effective, and still working exactly as documented. Think of it as the plant that tells your body it's younger than it thinks it is. Number 10. Marshmallow root, the tissue healer. Marshmallow root, Althea officinalis, has one of the most elegant mechanisms of any plant in Persian medicine. Persian physicians called it the Great Soother, and they used it for any condition involving inflamed, damaged, or aging mucous membranes, from the throat and lungs to the digestive tract and urinary system. Avicenna was particularly specific about its power to restore and preserve the integrity of tissue linings throughout the body. The science here is fascinating. Marshmallow root is extraordinarily rich in mucilaginous polysaccharides, complex carbohydrate compounds that form a protective, soothing gel when they contact water. This gel coats and protects inflamed mucous membranes, reduces irritation, and creates the conditions for tissue healing. But more relevant for aging, recent research shows that these polysaccharides also have genuine wound healing effects, stimulating cell migration and tissue repair. Studies demonstrate that marshmallow root extract accelerates healing of damaged skin and mucous membranes. The connection to aging is significant because the integrity of mucous membranes throughout the digestive and respiratory systems declines with age, contributing to increased inflammation, decreased nutrient absorption, and greater vulnerability to infection. Marshmallow root addresses all of these from the inside out. Traditional Persian use included marshmallow root as a tea for any internal inflammation, as a soothing wash for skin conditions, and as a component in preparations for respiratory illness. The cold infusion, made by steeping the root in cold water rather than hot, extracts the maximum amount of mucilage. Marshmallow root disappeared from mainstream Western medicine as pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs took over. But those drugs don't heal tissue, they suppress symptoms. Marshmallow root actually rebuilds and protects the tissue linings that keep you healthy and youthful. It's the great soother of the ancient world, still waiting patiently to do what it has always done. Number 11. Valerian, the deep sleep medicine. Valerian, Valeriana officinalis, was one of the most important plants in Persian medicine for what Avicenna called the root cause of rapid aging, disrupted sleep. Persian physicians were far ahead of their time in understanding that poor sleep was not merely an inconvenience, but a direct accelerant of aging and disease. They used valerian root as the primary sleep medicine for the elderly, recognizing that as sleep quality declined with age, so did every other measure of health. Modern sleep science has given us the vocabulary to explain what Persian physicians observed clinically. Deep sleep stages are when human growth hormone is released, when cellular repair occurs, when the brain clears metabolic waste through the glymphatic system, and when the inflammatory processes of daily life are reset. Disrupted or insufficient deep sleep is now considered one of the primary mechanisms of accelerated biological aging. Chronic sleep deprivation increases cortisol, which breaks down muscle and bone. It elevates inflammatory markers. It impairs glucose metabolism. It accelerates cellular aging at the genetic level. Published research on valerian shows it improves subjective sleep quality and reduces sleep latency, the time it takes to fall asleep, through mechanisms involving GABA receptor modulation, the same system targeted by pharmaceutical sleep medications, but without the dependency or morning grogginess those medications cause. Clinical trials show improvements in sleep quality and daytime function in people with insomnia and age-related sleep disruption. Traditional Persian use was simple and precise. Valerian root prepared as a tea or tincture was taken in the evening, an hour before bed. Persian physicians noted that consistent use over weeks and months produced progressive improvements in sleep quality, and that patients who slept better consistently showed signs of slower physical aging. Valerian got pushed aside as pharmaceutical sedatives became available. But those drugs suppress natural sleep architecture rather than restoring it. Valerian works with your sleep system. For anyone serious about anti-aging, addressing sleep quality is not optional, and valerian is still the most gentle, effective, and time-tested approach available. Think of it as the medicine that works while you're not even awake. Number 12. Chicory, the liver's best friend. Chicory, Cicorium intybus, was described by Persian physicians as the plant that keeps the blood clean and the liver young. This bitter plant, with its distinctive blue flowers, was fundamental to Persian understanding of what we would now call hepatic anti-aging, keeping the liver functioning at youthful capacity well into old age. Because Persian physicians correctly understood that when the liver declined, everything declined. Modern hepatology is proving them right in remarkable ways. Chicory root contains inulin, one of the most powerful prebiotic fibers known, which feeds beneficial gut bacteria and supports the gut-liver axis, the communication system between intestinal flora and liver function. Research shows chicory extract protects liver cells from oxidative damage, reduces inflammation in liver tissue, and may help prevent and reverse fatty liver disease, now the most common liver condition in the Western world, and a significant accelerator of systemic aging. Chicory also contains compounds that stimulate bile production and flow, essential for fat digestion, toxin elimination, and cholesterol metabolism. There is also compelling research on chicory and blood sugar. Inulin slows glucose absorption and feeds the bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, which improve insulin sensitivity. Insulin resistance and its relationship to aging is one of the hottest areas of longevity research, and chicory addresses the gut microbiome foundation of that problem directly. Traditional Persian use included chicory as both a food and a medicine. The roots were roasted and consumed as a digestive tonic. The leaves were eaten regularly in salads and cooked preparations. Physicians prescribed concentrated chicory root preparations for liver conditions and sluggish digestion in the elderly. Chicory got dismissed in Western medicine as a coffee substitute ingredient, rather than a serious therapeutic plant. But for liver health, gut microbiome support, and metabolic anti-aging, the blood purifier of the Persian pharmacopoeia is one of the most evidence-backed plants available. It's the plant that keeps every other system running clean. Number 13. Boswellia, the joint protector. We've talked about frankincense before in terms of its biblical significance, but boswellia deserves its own place in the Persian anti-aging tradition because Persian physicians understood it with extraordinary specificity. They used boswellia serrata and related species for what they called the aging of the joints and sinews. Avicenna described it in detail for inflammatory joint disease, for the preservation of flexibility and mobility in aging patients, and for respiratory inflammation that worsens with age. Modern research has validated boswellia's joint protection mechanisms in impressive clinical detail. Boswellic acids, the primary active compounds, inhibit 5-lipoxygenase, an enzyme central to the inflammatory cascade that destroys joint cartilage. Published clinical trials show boswellia extract significantly reduces pain and improves function in osteoarthritis, producing measurable results within 4 to 8 weeks. Unlike NSAIDs, which provide pain relief but may actually accelerate cartilage breakdown with long-term use, boswellia appears to protect cartilage while reducing inflammation. That distinction is enormous for aging. Beyond joints, boswellia's anti-inflammatory effects extend to the brain. Animal research and early human studies suggest boswellic acids have neuroprotective properties, reducing neuroinflammation, which is increasingly understood as a driver of cognitive decline and dementia. Traditional Persian physicians applied boswellia resin in preparations for joints, burned it for respiratory benefit, and prescribed it internally as one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory medicines available. They observed that patients who used boswellia regularly maintained physical mobility and mental clarity longer than those who did not. Boswellia got largely forgotten in Western medicine as pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs captured the joint pain market. But those drugs come with gastrointestinal, cardiovascular, and renal risks that are well documented. Boswellia offers what it's offered since Persian physicians first documented it: genuine, measurable joint protection without destroying the body in the process. Think of it as the plant that keeps you moving at every age. Number 14. Saffron's companion, turmeric in the Persian tradition. And here is the one I teased at the beginning, the plant worth more than gold by weight in ancient Persian markets, the one that modern dermatology has confirmed rebuilds collagen at the cellular level. Turmeric. Curcuma longa. Persian physicians obtained turmeric through extensive trade networks because it did not grow natively in Persia, and yet it was so valued that no cost was too high. It was incorporated into Persian medicine from Avicenna's time forward, described for liver protection, joint health, skin preservation, wound healing, and the prevention of what Persian physicians called the darkening and thickening of aged skin. The modern science on curcumin, turmeric's primary active compound, is extraordinary in scope. Over 10,000 published studies. What is most relevant for anti-aging is this. Curcumin modulates NF-kappa B, the master switch of the inflammatory response in human cells. It upregulates the body's own antioxidant defenses. It inhibits the enzymes that break down collagen and elastin in skin. Published dermatology research shows curcumin directly stimulates collagen synthesis in dermal fibroblasts. Oral curcumin supplementation in clinical trials has shown measurable improvement in skin elasticity and hydration in aging subjects. Beyond skin, curcumin has been studied extensively for brain protection. Research shows it inhibits the formation of amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease, reduces neuroinflammation, and may improve memory and cognitive function in aging adults. Traditional Persian use included turmeric and oil-based preparations applied topically to skin, as an internal medicine for liver and digestive conditions, and incorporated into foods as preventive medicine. Persian physicians noted that people who consumed turmeric regularly seemed to maintain smoother, more resilient skin and clearer minds. Bioavailability is key here. Curcumin is poorly absorbed alone, but becomes dramatically more bioavailable when combined with black pepper, which contains piperine. This is something Persian physicians intuitively addressed by combining their preparations. Turmeric was never truly forgotten, but it was not taken seriously as medicine in the West until the research became impossible to ignore. For rebuilding collagen, fighting inflammation, and protecting the aging brain, the spice that was worth more than gold still is. Think of it as the plant that modern science keeps discovering for the first time. Number 15. Tragacanth, the original collagen supplement. Tragacanth, Astragalus gummifer and related species, is one of the most fascinating plants in Persian medicine and one of the least known in the modern world. The gum resin from this thorny shrub native to the Iranian plateau was used by Persian physicians for something remarkably specific. They described it as a medicine that keeps the skin supple, the joints lubricated, and the interior tissues moist and resilient, which is a strikingly accurate pre-scientific description of collagen and connective tissue support. Modern analysis shows that tragacanth gum is composed of polysaccharides that have genuine biological effects on connective tissue. Research demonstrates that tragacanth has wound healing properties, reducing healing time in both skin wounds and mucous membrane damage. Its high fiber content feeds gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, essential for intestinal integrity and systemic inflammation control. There is also research suggesting tragacanth's polysaccharides support the scaffolding of connective tissue throughout the body. Traditional Persian use was creative and widespread. Tragacanth was incorporated into skin preparations, eaten in small amounts as a tonic, used to thicken medicinal preparations, and applied topically to aging skin. It was considered a daily tonic for maintaining tissue integrity and preventing the drying, thinning, and loss of elasticity associated with aging. Tragacanth got forgotten in Western medicine entirely, relegated to its role as a food thickener and pharmaceutical excipient. But the original Persian application, supporting connective tissue integrity and skin health from within, is being revisited by researchers studying plant polysaccharides and their effects on human tissue. It is the original collagen support supplement that most people have never heard of. Think of it as Persia's secret that never made it to the Western anti-aging market. Number 16. Fumitory, the blood purifier. Fumitory, Fumaria officinalis, was called the smoke of the earth by Persian physicians, a name that reflected both its delicate, misty appearance and its ability to clear and purify the body. Persian medicine used fumitory specifically for what they called corrupt blood and sluggish liver, conditions we would now recognize as elevated toxin burden, poor liver methylation, and the chronic skin and energy problems that accompany impaired detoxification. Modern phytochemistry shows fumitory contains alkaloids, including fumarine, that have cholagogue effects, stimulating bile flow and supporting liver clearance function. Research demonstrates antispasmodic effects on the bile duct, helping the liver clear toxins more efficiently. Clinical observations and traditional use consistently link fumitory with improvement in the chronic skin conditions, particularly the inflammatory and pigmentation changes that worsen with age and impaired liver function. The connection between liver efficiency and skin aging is something Persian physicians understood intuitively that modern integrative medicine is now formalizing. The liver processes and eliminates the metabolic byproducts and environmental toxins that, when they accumulate, manifest as accelerated skin aging, brown spots, dullness, and inflammatory skin conditions. Traditional Persian use included fumitory as a spring tonic, a bitter tea consumed for several weeks each year to clear what physicians called the accumulation of winter in the blood. This cyclical cleansing approach is something modern functional medicine has arrived at independently. Fumitory got forgotten as synthetic liver medications and skin treatments replaced botanical approaches to detoxification. But for anyone dealing with the skin and energy changes of impaired liver function, the smoke of the earth is still clearing what Avicenna said it would clear. It's the plant that works from the inside to clean what shows on the outside. Number 17. Wormwood, the bitter life extender. Wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, has a complicated modern reputation because of its association with absinthe. But in Persian medicine, it was regarded with the highest respect as one of the most potent medicinal plants available. Avicenna used it for digestive parasites, for liver support, for reducing fever, and critically for aging. He described it as a plant that strengthens the stomach and prevents the putrefaction that causes disease and rapid decline. Modern research is validating wormwood's medicinal depth. Artemisinin, derived from a related species, Artemisia annua, became the basis of the most effective malaria treatment ever developed, winning the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2015. The broader Artemisia family, including wormwood, contains compounds with antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and digestive healing effects. Research demonstrates that wormwood extracts are effective against intestinal parasites and pathogenic bacteria. Given the now well-established connection between gut microbiome health and biological aging, wormwood's ability to clear dysbiosis and restore gut health has direct anti-aging implications. The bitter compounds in wormwood, absinthin and artabsin, stimulate digestive enzyme production and bile flow, improving nutrient absorption and reducing the chronic low-grade gut inflammation that drives systemic aging. Traditional Persian use was careful and cyclical. Small amounts of wormwood were used as a digestive bitter, taken before meals to prepare the digestive system, and in short therapeutic courses for parasitic infections and gut dysbiosis. The important note here is that wormwood contains thujone, which can be toxic in large amounts. It is a plant to use in traditional small doses as a digestive bitter, not in large therapeutic amounts without professional guidance. This is exactly how Persian physicians used it, with precision and respect. Wormwood got dismissed in Western medicine partly because of its association with absinthe and partly because anti-parasitic drugs replaced it. But for gut health and the digestive efficiency that underlies healthy aging, the bitter life extender of the Persian pharmacopoeia is still offering what Avicenna documented, just waiting for someone to use it with the same precision he did. Number 18. Grapevine and Persian wine medicine. The grapevine holds a special place in Persian culture and medicine. Persia was one of the earliest and most sophisticated wine-producing civilizations, and Persian physicians were the first to systematically study the therapeutic effects of grape products. Avicenna wrote extensively about grapes, grape juice, and wine as medicine, distinguishing between their effects with a precision that modern nutritional science has confirmed. We have discussed resveratrol and cardiovascular benefits before in the context of other traditions. But the Persian contribution to our understanding of grape medicine is specific. Persian physicians documented the topical use of grapeseed preparations for skin healing, the internal use of grapeseed extract as an astringent tonic for blood vessel integrity, and the use of concentrated grape must for what they called the strengthening of the heart and the preservation of youth. These are precise observations about cardiovascular anti-aging. Modern research on grapeseed extract is exceptionally strong. Proanthocyanidins, the primary active compounds, have demonstrated blood pressure-lowering effects in clinical trials, improved arterial elasticity, reduced oxidative stress in vascular tissue, and anti-inflammatory effects throughout the cardiovascular system. A published trial showed that grapeseed extract supplementation improved skin elasticity and hydration in women over 40 after 12 weeks. Research specifically on vascular aging shows grapeseed extract helps maintain endothelial function, the health of blood vessel linings, which declines with age and drives cardiovascular disease. Traditional Persian use included eating fresh grapes, consuming grape juice, using grapeseed preparations for skin health, and carefully prescribed wine as medicine for specific conditions. Persian physicians distinguished quality, dose, and context with the precision of pharmacologists. Grape medicine got conflated with the debates around alcohol in modern times, causing us to lose the nuanced Persian understanding of grape's full medicinal value. Grapeseed extract, available without any alcohol content, delivers the most potent anti-aging compounds the vine offers. Think of it as the medicine of Persian kings, now available to everyone. Number 19. Mastic, the gut guardian. Mastic, Pistacia lentiscus, was called the tears of Chios, though Persian physicians traded for it extensively and incorporated it into their anti-aging formulations. It was used for digestive conditions, oral health, liver protection, and skin preparations. Avicenna described mastic as a preservative medicine, something that slowed the decay and degeneration of tissues. Modern research has produced a striking finding on mastic and gut health. A published clinical trial showed that mastic gum supplementation eradicated Helicobacter pylori, the bacterium responsible for stomach ulcers, in a significant percentage of subjects. This is remarkable because H. pylori eradication typically requires combination antibiotic therapy, and antibiotic resistance is making that treatment increasingly difficult. Mastic did it with a natural resin. Beyond H. pylori, research shows mastic has broad antimicrobial effects in the gut, reduces inflammatory markers associated with inflammatory bowel conditions, and has hepatoprotective, liver-protecting effects. Given what we now know about the gut-aging connection, maintaining a healthy gut microbiome and gut lining is directly anti-aging. Chronic gut inflammation accelerates systemic aging by increasing inflammatory cytokines throughout the body. Traditional Persian use included chewing mastic resin directly for oral and digestive health, incorporating mastic powder into preparations for liver and digestive conditions, and using mastic oil topically for skin healing. Persian physicians observed that patients with healthy digestion aged more slowly, a clinical observation that modern gut longevity research is now explaining mechanistically. Mastic got forgotten in Western medicine as H. pylori treatments and antacids became standard of care. But for anyone dealing with chronic digestive issues, gut inflammation, or the systemic aging effects of poor gut health, the gut guardian of the Persian tradition is one of the most precisely documented natural medicines available. Think of it as the resin that protects the foundation of your health. Number 20. Rosa canina, the master medicine. And here we are at number 20, the one I saved for last because it represents everything we have discussed today. The plant that Avicenna himself called the master medicine. The one he prescribed for nearly every degenerative condition in his clinical practice. And the one that modern anti-aging researchers are finding at the intersection of every major longevity pathway. Rosehip, Rosa canina. Not the ornamental rose flower, but the bright red fruit, the rosehip, the seed pod left after the rose blooms. Persian physicians consumed it, prescribed it, and regarded it as the most broadly beneficial medicine in the entire kingdom of plants. Avicenna described it for joint inflammation, for skin preservation, for immune function, for digestive health, for kidney protection, and for the general maintenance of vitality in aging patients. He prescribed it to elderly patients across nearly every condition because he observed that it seemed to slow the overall process of degeneration regardless of the specific disease. Modern nutrition science has discovered that rosehip contains one of the highest concentrations of vitamin C found in any plant, far exceeding citrus fruits, along with a unique compound called GOPO, galactolipid, that has specific anti-inflammatory effects on joint tissue. Published clinical trials show rosehip powder significantly reduces pain and improves function in osteoarthritis patients. Research on rosehip oil shows it reduces scar depth, improves skin tone, and measurably increases collagen synthesis in aging skin. Studies on rosehip's immune effects show it reduces the duration and severity of respiratory infections. But here's what makes rosehip the master medicine Avicenna called it. It works across systems simultaneously. The vitamin C it contains is essential for collagen synthesis in every tissue in the body, for immune function, for adrenal health, for iron absorption, and for the regeneration of other antioxidants including vitamin E. GOPO reduces the joint inflammation that limits physical activity, and physical activity is one of the most powerful anti-aging interventions known to science. The carotenoids in rosehip protect skin from UV-induced aging. The prebiotic fiber feeds gut bacteria that produce anti-aging metabolites. It is the medicine that improves everything at once because it addresses the foundations on which all health rests. Traditional Persian use was daily and consistent. Rosehips were dried and consumed as tea, eaten whole, made into syrups, and incorporated into preparations across virtually every category of disease. Persian physicians didn't reserve it for specific conditions. They gave it to everyone, especially the elderly, as the foundation of health maintenance. Rosehip was largely forgotten in Western medicine when synthetic vitamin C was developed and marketed as a single nutrient supplement. But isolated ascorbic acid does not replicate the complex of bioflavonoids, GOPO, carotenoids, and synergistic compounds found in the whole rosehip. Nature's formulation is better than the synthetic extraction, exactly as Persian physicians understood 1,000 years before we had the biochemistry to explain why. If you have made it all the way to the end of this video, you have just been introduced to something extraordinary. A medical tradition that was systematically right about aging in ways that modern science is only now catching up to document. These 20 plants aren't folklore. They aren't superstition. They are legitimate, evidence-backed medicines that have been working for 1,000 years and are still working now. So here is what I want you to do. Smash that like button if this video changed the way you think about aging and plant medicine. Drop a comment below and tell me which Persian plant surprised you the most. Are you Team Saffron and Rose? Team Barberry and Turmeric? Team Rosehip and Boswellia? I read every comment and I genuinely love hearing from you. And if you haven't subscribed to Ancient Flora yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We are connecting the world's greatest plant wisdom traditions with modern science, and we are just getting started. Remember, the most powerful anti-aging medicine in history wasn't discovered in a laboratory last year. Sometimes it was documented by a Persian physician 1,000 years ago, just waiting for us to catch up.